Have you guys ever wondered what disconnection looks like and what the long-term effects of it is or are? Well, when I left the Sea Org, I knew that by escaping and by running away meant that I was taking my power back, or maybe taking responsibility for my life for the first time. But I also knew that I was giving up everything that I had ever known, because I knew my family would never be the same, or how I was looked at in my family would never be the same. So then I would never have what I loved and cherished growing up ever again. And somehow that felt at the time like that was worth it. So whatever I was confronting or looking at that time was so much worse than walking away and giving up the illusion of having a family and connection, and love and those kind of things. So I think disconnection takes many faces. So when I first left, what disconnection looked like was terror, was nowhere to turn to. It was alone. It was isolation. And a choice I made because of how I was brought up. I knew that I was responsible for my own condition, and the people that I loved and cared about and looked up to and respected would look at it the same way. That's not their problem, and that's just what it is. And I used to think that was just Scientology. And I'd like to think that it was just Scientology, so then it could be identified and it could be avoided. But after I left and as I continued living, I found that it runs through society. And some areas are deep and wide, and some areas are narrow and traversable, but that you're not my clan, you're not my family, is something that I've experienced and seen from many different angles. And I'll give you a good example. When I was young, before I joined the Sea Org, I had a good friend, and they had a bunch of motorcycles, and they used to go to this place called Hollister, California, all the time. And we hung out and we played, I think we played D&D or something like that, and which is a whole nother funny topic to get into on Scientology and D&D, but for another day. So we hung out and did like sleepovers and stuff like kids. Those were some normal pleasure moments in my life of like stability and things like that. So we hung out, and his parents after a while were like, hey, we're going up to Hollister, and do you want to come with us? And I was like, well, I don't have a motorcycle and I don't have this. And they're like, we have enough stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'd love to. How amazing. Like, that would be so much fun, because your son's so cool and we're good friends, and awesome, like a friend, like something I hadn't really experienced a lot prior to that. So we went there, and it was probably one of the best times I had as a child up until that point. There's a few others, but that was like just a freeing like acceptance and love and no ethics and no Scientology talk, just people being real people. And not only that family, but all the other people that were there in that community, like of dirt bike riders and, you know, that cult or whatever. It was a very, very amazing experience overall. So the second day into riding and all these hills and all this stuff, the first day, I was allowed to ride the smaller, more agile motorcycle. And it was fun, and it was good times. And halfway through the day, I had to switch to a much bigger, heavier motorcycle. Still a very capable dirt bike. But it was basically from like an XT250R Honda to a Yamaha, or XR250R, sorry, to a Honda XT500, which is a great bike, but it is really heavy. And it made hill climbing a lot harder, but still enjoyable. And, but what I did notice, and what was brought up to me in the most healthy way I had ever had, I guess, boundaries set to me, was I realized that this was something that if I enjoyed and I had something that I was passionate about, that I would have to get a motorcycle, and I would have to get equipment and helmets and stuff like that. And they were more than happy to take me with them and that stuff, but it was kind of like a trial run. Like, this is our passion, this is what we do as a family, and we're more than happy to include you in this, but only in a way that we also continue to enjoy what we love. Meaning, this one time was like a courtesy. And I realized that. I realized that I should love, and I didn't get upset about riding the heavier bike. I was just happy to be there. So the second night we had a barbecue and s'mores, and they made this cool drink, and not alcohol or anything, but like a campfire drink. Like, I think it was like fruit punch with like tropical fruit punch instead of regular fruit. So it had that cool, you know, that was motorcycle riding to me. That's what I related it to, that taste. And I remember the dad looking over and was like, so, like, what'd you think? You know, like, was it fun? And I was like, wow, yeah, it was so great, this and that. And he was like, well, if you want to do it again, you got to get your own stuff. And I was like, cool. And at the time, I think I didn't, and it was, for me, it was like, oh, I'm out of exchange. You know, they've pushed all this emotion and equipment and stuff my way to utilize and to have fun in, and I'm out of exchange. And my penalty was that you can never do this again, is what I think went on in my head at the time. And I was fine. I was like, oh, and I think I instantly mourned it internally. Like, I felt sadness, because it was one of those things that I was like, well, I'll probably never get to do this again in my life. And that was kind of hard to accept at the time. But in hindsight, it was kind of the first time that healthy boundaries were put in front of me. And I really only had Scientology and that mindset, and even mixed in with Scientology, I had artists and musicians who were yeah, there's just no normal part of society of any of those things. So it was hard to hear. I don't think I'd ever heard that before. And I think those kind of things that we can look back on sort of serve us well, because it helps us to gain little nuggets of wisdom of here's not only how to act as a parent and what, like, modeling what a good parent is, and not just saying, oh, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what my dad did, because there were some good things and there were some healthy things, and I was exposed to some good people and some good families, and I've heard on a few different live streams and YouTube things about not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And that, to me, is what that means more. Of like, we can't discount all our history as bad or negative. Maybe it'd be better to say there's parts of it I'm not able to look at without denying or looking away. And those are the parts that, if we're going to create a group of people that are trying to heal or trying to improve their mental health, then that's where we need to be to support those people, to hear those people, and to create a space where they are able to look at those parts that all they want to do is turn away from. And I think looking back and finding little nuggets of wisdom is part of that process. It's not condoning the behavior or the treatment that caused the trauma. It's saying that even in that, you were able to find nuggets to survive and to even grow. Because if our developmental stages are dismissed, then how are we supposed to grow without, like, we're going to grow no matter what, right? I think that's what I'm trying to say, is we're going to hit these developmental stages whether we like it or not. And it's what is our exterior influences in there, and then how do we set those patterns. So yeah, I think finding nuggets of wisdom, it's like, what is it? To live is to suffer, and to survive is to find meaning in the suffering. And none of that needs to have a negative connotation. You know, we all live through things, we all live for things, we all live in spite of things. And I guess it's the meaning we try to attach to it, and the meaning that, you know, if we can find some silver linings and some ugly, dark things, then that'll get us through the next storm, and that'll get us through the next day, and that'll get us through the next hour, and that'll get us through the next minute. So, yeah, I think I'll leave it there. I really didn't know what I was going to talk about, but I didn't want to be like, hey guys, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. So I just started talking. And I hope that anybody who listened, if you have something to say something, and let's talk it out, or let's do a panel, or leave a comment, or let's exchange some ideas, and maybe we can create some more memories that we can grow from. I kind of like that. I think that's cool.